Welcome.
Brand new Los Angeles rat that goes nowhere.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. I know that I've been promising you guys Elric. Also got some links for the channel. Hitchhiker's Guide by DC Comics.
The celebrated best-selling novel, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
What is this thing?
It's the guide. It's got everything you need to know to survive in the universe.
Well, I can't wait to start that. And Murdered Children 2099.
Let's cook.
The Mandalorian is back, and, well, not much I can say that hasn't been said. I mean, Doomcock said this. Doug Walker said this.
Chapter 9 is reasonably enjoyable, even as the scripts narrow the universe to almost claustrophobic proportions.
I was a little worried when this episode started off because the place he goes to, you know, there's kind of this fight going on where people are watching and gambling and cheering and stuff like that. And
I gotta say, it was a great reintroduction to the world of the Mandalorian. It was a great massaging us back into that which is a galaxy far, far away, but a very personal POV look into that seedy-ass underworld.
Yet, even so, I am conflicted after watching this episode.
my first major fear was that it didn't look alien enough.
The opening scene features the Mandalorian finding himself in seriously deep voodoo, and the way he addresses it is badass and a lot of fun.
Poor John Leguizamo, can he ever not be in makeup? And again, I was a little concerned because I'm like, oh, we're gonna be retreading too much, and not quite.
And despite a running time of 54 minutes and some really beautiful special effects sequences with a creature Star Wars fans have waited a long time to see.
So, here's my take. I like Timothy Olyphant's character. You know, he's basically the same character he is in Justified, but in Star Wars, you know, the Marshal. And
Timothy Olyphant of Justified gives his usual sturdy and amiable performance as the Marshal of Mos Pelgo, a new character in possession of a treasure that fans will find particularly eye-opening.
The first thing that happens is he's looking for other Mandalorians, and he comes across someone wearing the Boba Fett armor.
Yeah, our friend Mando gets word that there is a Mandalorian on Tatooine, in which we were all like, at least I was. I was like, what? Boba Fett. Then you see this dude.
This episode is essentially a Western, with the Mandalorian being the masked stranger riding into town, encountering a problem and helping to solve it before moving on.
we learn more about the Tusken Raiders and how they're basically the Native Americans.
I mean, literally, in the first few minutes.
The return of Amy Sedaris' character.
That's just something to eat.
The big twist at the end with Boba Fett's cool, but you knew that was going to happen. But one thing that just really, really annoyed me was the crate dragon. Don't you mean sandworm? That's what it is. It's a fucking sandworm. It's a useless sandworm too, because there's no spice melange with it.
Whatever.
Episode was good. Can't wait for next week.
Boy, I know you're all tuning in to see my reaction to this one.
This week's Mandalorian, by far the worst I've ever fucking seen. Which is really sad because, like, I'm getting my hopes up and then boom.
We get this boring bullshit filler episode. No Boba Fett, goes to an ice planet, annoying frog lady, can't go in hyperspace.
But it's still competently done, and this is the episode known is titled The Passenger, and starts off with Mandalorian going and given this quest from this Honey I Shrunk the Kid aunt, I guess.
I'm gonna be honest, I feel kind of mean, because I'm sure she's so nice. That's what people say, right? Before they bag on a character. Like, I'm sure the actor is so nice. I'm not a fan of her character. Just her and her pit droids, just...
Oh, she's using a pod racer engine for cooking the crate dragon meat, which is a callback to Galaxy's Edge.
Who cares?
The space chase was cool, but other than that, this episode sucked. I mean, Baby Yoda keep on trying to eat fucking eggs. He's a little shithead. And too much vehicle destruction. And that's another thing I noticed too.
Nag, 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 nag.
People aren't bringing up the most important thing. That was her bike, and nobody brings it up.
It's just me. Without my bike!
Anyhow, we leave Tatooine. And Mando comes across a couple of X-Wing fighters from the New Republic, and New Republic's like, hey, you're either with us or against us.
Dave Filoni uses a callback to episode 6, which is kind of cool.
Who knows? Maybe they were like, we know who your cargo is.
I mean, come on.
Fucking boring.
Because the guy who directed this was Pete Reed, the same guy who did the Ant-Man movies. Why did that take me so long? God damn it. Okay, so...
Mandalorian crash lands on a planet, and adventures continue. That's the episodic adventure for today.
So it's just like this dragged out filler episode. That'll probably lead to something cool next week, hopefully.
So that's pretty much the gist of this episode of The Mandalorian. Mandalorian kind of crash lands, well, I mean, he lands with Grace-ish, and then falls through and his ship kind of gets trashed, and he has to take on one of the most vicious predators in a galaxy far, far away. No, not spiders. Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda is a pain in the fucking ass. I mean, it kind of reminds me of my cat when you give him catnip, you know what I mean?
Baby Yoda is the monster under the bed for many children in this galaxy far, far away. Because he's basically acting like a taxi to this gecko mom, and this gecko mom's like, hey, this is my jar full of babies.
And then what happened?
Well, Sasha Banks wasn't Sabine Wren.
But that's okay, because she's not that good of an actress.
Oh, snap.
Now on to the review. This episode was way better than last week.
It wasn't the best episode, but a lot of shit happened at once.
Can't believe it was only 33 minutes.
What the fuck?
There were a few parts I was going like, shit, not the frog people again.
It's not easy being green.
Baby Yoda was a little shit. Oh, he's eating the species.
Who cares?
I also like the fact that we saw more aliens.
I like that he's kind of on this fishing dock. I think that made too much sense. And then all the other creatures on there are kind of like these squid creatures. I was really, really liking that. Though, again, it looks too much like a human fishing dock. Like I really want some cool variations there. I want them to do something different.
More diversity the right way, not this forced diversity.
Bullshit.
Got to see Grandma Gus Fring, because that's what he is. He was cool, you know. Busy guy this year, huh? This and The Boys and Better Call Saul.
I guess they are doing crossovers with other Star Wars characters now, specifically.
Bo-Katan was badass. I mean, yeah, her hair was a little shorter than normal, but, you know, a lot can happen in 25 years, basically, between that and the end of Clone Wars.
They got the same voice actress.
She's probably the coolest she's ever been, not just because she's live action, played by Katie Sackhoff, but she was perfect. She was more sassier than normal. That's all I gotta say.
These other Mandalorian wannabes, dress-ups, I don't know.
Bo-Katan's make our Mandalorian look like a bitch, though, if you think about it. Like, seriously.
She introduced an interesting concept, which again, I'm not sure it's been introduced in the other show.
The Mandalorian clan that Mando's part of, they're part of Death Watch, and it's confirmed that Death Watch are a bunch of fucking religious zealot assholes.
Well done!
That was a really interesting concept, because usually in shows like this, it's like, yeah, they have, this is the way, and there's usually like some differences.
How bad were they? Well, I know you probably watched a bunch of people talk about it, but let's put it this way. Darth Maul was their leader. Yes, Darth Maul. But whatever. Chapter 12.
On this week's adventure of The Mandalorian, there's this facility that has some Imperial stragglers, and it's kind of a problem, so Carl Weathers is like, you help us take that thing out, and we're kind of done with the Empire here forever. We'll be a legit establishment, so he's like, all right.
This episode was really fun.
Nice.
Mando was not as much in it as he should be.
Really?
Focused more on Cara Dune and Greg. I think his name's Greg. And just some whole heist thing.
Mandalorian is a video game.
We learned more about why the Empire needs, or the leftover Empire needs, Baby Yoda, and how they're doing on Navarro.
You know how it goes. You have this one thing to do. It sounds simple enough. It sounds like a pretty A to B kind of thing. Then you run into someone who's like, I have answers. Can you help me out with that thing first? And you're like, oh, side quest. Fine. That formula is MMO, any number of sandbox games, and Mandalorian.
It was fun watching just the whole car chase, and the whole dogfight with the fully fixed Razor Crest was pretty epic. But all in all, the downside of this episode is it foreshadows the sequel trilogy, and well, we all know it needs to be retconned because nothing good came out of that. What? A Mary Sue who didn't even earn her fucking anything? Feminist garbage because Kathleen Kennedy's a fucking cunt who needs to be punched in the face? Yeah, nothing good came out of that fucking sequel trilogy. So why foreshadow something that we don't want to be reminded of? It needs to be fucking retconned. Since they have the world between worlds, you should fucking retcon it and bring back Legend.
And then what happened?
Holy fuck. Episode 5, Season 2. Oh, so much to unpack. I mean, we open with Ahsoka. Then a whole fight sequence of awesomeness.
Fuck yeah!
We learned Baby Yoda's name.
Grogu.
A Beskar versus lightsaber fight with Warlord Bitch.
Beskar.
And then a name drop of Grand Admiral fucking Thrawn.
To defeat an enemy, you must know them. Not simply their battle tactics, but their history,
philosophy, art.
And dude, talk about some, like, we'll say, iconic geek culture actors. Dude, does he play the fucking mercenary guy? And yeah, that's literally the character's name. Michael motherfucking Biehn. Yes, it's Biehn, not Bane. Biehn, motherfuckers. Respect. Remember, know your role. I mean, it's Michael fucking Biehn, you know. Kyle Reese in the Terminator movie. Crazy Navy SEAL guy in The Abyss.
Ooh, Navy SEALs!
I mean, I'd go into more detail, but, you know, I'll let these other people talk for me.
And the episode opens on Corvus with the arrival of a character that will make everyone's lightsaber light up.
That opening sequence with her was awesome.
And she teased so many other characters that are now coming to the series eventually.
I came at least 5 times. Yeah, I know, TMI, but oh my god. My little fanboy was just all over the place. Best episode ever? I mean, it's better than episode 1 by far. Not a wasted episode, no filler, just to the point, badass.
Oh yeah!
The only possible negative, I will say, is that it was weird seeing Ahsoka, but since it's Rosario Dawson playing her, like, having a different voice.
It took a bit of getting used to.
And it's not because I don't like this character, and it's not because I don't love who they cast as Ahsoka, because I'm a huge Rosario Dawson fan as well. She's in one of my favorite movies of all time, Clerks 2. It's just that what Star Wars has been through and how Lucasfilm has continued to treat the fans and what they did with the sequel trilogy and just the disaster across the board.
And speaking of Ahsoka, I decided to actually look up some stuff about Rosario Dawson because I was curious if she was like, you know, because the character Ahsoka is supposed to be in her 40s right now when it comes to The Mandalorian. So I'm all like, how old is Rosario Dawson? Oh, she's only a year younger than me. She's born in 79, right? Then I found out like how liberal she is and some ironic stuff. Like for one, she's a Trekkie who's fluent in Klingon, which is really ironic, the fact that she's playing a Star Wars character. J.J. Abrams directed, you know, the Star Trek reboots and then did Star Wars. I'm all, yeah, but he just did Star Trek as a practice for Star Wars. First one was good because it gave Star Trek balls.
Oh my.
Now, like, the new Star Trek's just taking a shit on the original source material to the point where it has that no respect, like Picard. And then, of course, don't get me started on Discovery. You're just ingrateful fucks who don't like the source material doing it, and you're hiring these assholes like Alex Kurtzman, a guy who tried to launch the fucking Dark Universe and failed at it, would not ever work again. But no, let's give this fucker Star Trek. Robert Rodriguez with a big budget doing Star Wars. Boba Fett's finally back, and Mando takes Grogu to that Jedi planet. He does that cool light thing.
And just when we think a Jedi shows up, nah, Boba Fett comes and he's like, you know what? I need to give you my armor right now. I don't care about the child or you, but if you don't give me my armor right now, I got a sniper up there who's gonna take out the child. Turns out the sniper up there is actually Fennec.
Bounty hunter chick that was in that one gunslinger episode, it doesn't die because Boba Fett saved her.
She reveals that she's gone full Darth Vader with a whole bunch of cybernetic parts to keep her alive.
So people who said, hey, that's Boba Fett, props, you called it. And he was like, that Boba Fett armor, I guess I wouldn't call it that. That armor that you got off of Timothy Olyphant, who was the sheriff, who was a sheriff and everything, so of course he played the sheriff in The Mandalorian. That armor belongs to me, it belonged to my father Django before me, and I'm a simple man trying to make my way in the galaxy like my father.
Shut up and get to the point!
Answer the question that Boba Fett and Jango Fett are actual Mandalorians or foundlings. So all the people who said that the Fetts aren't Mandalorians can go suck it.
But everybody press F in the chat to pay respects to the Razor Crest.
Razor Crest gets destroyed. I mean, he just fucking fixed it. He's like, you just fucking fixed your ship. It gets destroyed. But we get to see the fucking Slave One. And now Boba Fett and that other bounty hunter chick are now part of Team Mando. And they gotta search to rescue little Grogu. And then they go to Navarro to team up with Cara Dune so they can spring Bill Burr's character.
And fucking young people are acting like old people.
Because now fans can make videos about how Mando and Boba Fett teamed up. Mando, Boba Fett, Ming-Na Wen, and they're gonna go get Bill Burr. They're forming a crew now.
I mean, come on!
We finally get to see Boba Fett in action being badass, and his armor, and we also get to see the Dark Troopers. Oh my god, the fucking Dark Troopers. And of course, these last 3 episodes are gonna be a trilogy of badassery, because little Grogu gets captured by the Dark Troopers, and we get to see the Darksaber as well. I was like nerding out big time. I mean, hell, even my chick was telling me she could see my boner. Well, it's the episode before the finale, and a lot to unpack. So far, the season's been pretty badass.
Shut up and get to the point!
Yes, Bill Burr's back.
We got Burr, man!
Or Mayfield is the character's name.
And he really breaks out some good acting chops here.
And it's just funny, the whole like sequence in the very beginning when like Cara Dune takes him into her custody and then runs into fucking Boba.
You know, for a second I thought you were this other guy.
Then they go to some planet that like find out where Moff Gideon is at.
Really fucking dig this squad. Mando, Cara Dune, Boba Fett, Ming-Na Wen, and Bill Burr. I want to see them walking like the Tombstone poster, man. That's a good squad. Oh yeah!
So they go to a Imperial planet, and Mando has to wear stormtrooper armor to go in disguise, and they take a Juggernaut, and while they go on their little like excursion to infiltrate an Imperial base, big old chase with alien pirates and shit. Then they get to the base.
Never thought you'd be happy to see stormtroopers.
And then Mando has to like take off the helmet to have his face scanned so they can get coordinates. And then they run into the commanding officer played by Foxy from 3 from Hell. I know more as Joe Chill, but yeah, that's fucking Foxy for fucking
3 from Hell.
Hell yeah! And then they have a drink with Foxy, and then Foxy like gets all douchey and they shoot him. And then they go on the run, and then they escape. And then meanwhile, Cara Dune and Bounty Hunter chick fucking do some sniper stuff. And then they let Bill Burr's character go. It was pretty cool. And then, you know, cliffhanger.
He means more to me than you will ever know.
And now we're getting ready for the finale. Well, it was worth the fucking wait, that's for fucking sure. Dude, this finale, I've been saying how each episode gets better and better. Well, this is by far the best one. And technically kind of a sad thing, but we'll get to that later. It starts with the Slave One chasing down Shuttle Tydirium that had the cloner guy. Then they fire it with a fucking ion disruptor, disable the engines, board the shuttle, and then shoot the 2 pilots. Oh my god. I'm just like, my little inner child isn't all in awe, because I used to have those toys too, right? So they end up going to a bar to meet up with you know, Bo-Katan and the crew. Then they hijack a fucking, and we find out that Boba and Bo-Katan don't get along because he's not looked at as a real Mandalorian because he's a clone. Then they hijack the fucking Shuttle Tydirium. As you can tell, I'm in awe right now. Then they dogfight with TIE fighters and Slave One. Slave One takes them out and just pieces out. Then it's Mando and his Amazon badass chicks, and they take out a bunch of stormtroopers and basically kill everyone on the ship. And it's just a whole like just action sequence of awesomeness, like a video game almost, straight out of Dark Forces, and they're just fucking shit up. And then Mando has to fight a fucking Dark Trooper, and of course he uses a Beskar spear and kills the Dark Trooper. And then after he kills the Dark Trooper, he gets him off Gideon, and he's holding the little Grogu hostage with the Dark Saber. Then we see a Dark Saber versus Beskar spear fight. Of course Mando obviously wins, but then just when like get to the bridge, you almost seem like Mando has to fight Bo-Katan for the Dark Saber, and then the Dark Troopers show up and they're all fucked, and then along comes an X-Wing to the rescue, and you're like, oh great, just one of the random X-Wings, right? Nope, it's Luke Skywalker. They don't say it's Luke Skywalker, but it's obviously Luke Skywalker, because who else dresses like his dad can fuck up all those Dark Troopers like they're like nothing. You know, like how we wanted to see him in Last Jedi, but we didn't, but whatever. He just fucked all this shit up. And then Mando takes off his helmet to say goodbye to Grogu, because Luke's gonna train Grogu, and Grogu meets R2-D2, and there's a really heartwarming, sad moment. And then you realize that like, we're done with fucking Din Djarin, dude. We're done with our main Mando guy. The story's over. I don't know how they're gonna do season 3. Then we get to an after credit. Oh, here's the icing on the cake. This is what I was talking about earlier. So, as you can tell, I'm still speechless and in awe about how awesome it is. So, we get to Jabba's palace, and badass shit happens. Bib Fortuna's all fat and pretending to be Jabba's now the crime boss, right? Well, Boba and Fennec come in, kill Bib Fortuna, and then Boba and Fennec just sit, do like a JoJo pose in Jabba's throne, and it says, to be continued, next book, Boba Fett. So now the Mandalorian is Boba Fett, and now it makes complete sense why they did not announce at that Disney meeting the Boba Fett series, because Mandalorian season 3 is going to be the Boba Fett series, because it kind of confirms that the Din Djarin story is gone and over. He'll make some appearances ever so often, or he might be part of Bo-Katan's story. There you have it, the finale of Mandalorian, the end of Din Djarin, and the beginning of, yes, you guessed it, Boba Fett and Fennec Chen. That's all I gotta say on this one. Obviously, this episode gets a 10 out of 10, and yeah, that's basically it. And of course, most importantly, YouTube for trying to censor me or stopping me from getting any following. You just
go fuck yourself.
I do think that a completely fair society is probably impossible, but as an aspirational goal, it produces results that typically range from benign to beneficial.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
The 90s called. They want their everything back. And if you want this 90s regime mentality to stop, just be a warmonger. Because we were hoping that we would have had the end of the political correctness with Trump, and it worked so well, didn't it? asking all you people, because we're living in a
Check out our Patreon, linked in the description as you can tell, and support our cause. We don't get paid for this.